Hello friends, welcome to this MOOCs course on data analysis using SPSS. This is the first video in the series and we are going to learn the basic of SPSS. We will not be getting into technical aspect of it. We will be looking at what is SPSS, how does it work. So as you are aware, SPSS stands for Statistical Package for Social Sciences. Now SPSS earlier was a separate company. Later on it has been taken over by IBM. So now we call it IBM SPSS. SPSS is most widely used software for quantitative analysis. Wherever you have quantitative data and you want to perform quantitative analysis, SPSS is most widely used. What is visible on the screen is the first light opening window of SPSS. As soon as you start the software, this is the first screen that comes to you. If you look at it, it is quite familiar to us, just like an Excel, and we have been using Excel day in day out. So similar to Excel, we have columns and row. We have various cells where we used to enter the data. We have row number on the left hand side. At the top we got various menus and icon for performing various functions. So if you look at this, look like a normal Excel, but two big differences when we compare this opening window of SPSS with that of Excel. Difference 1. In Excel, the topmost row above row number 1 are labeled alphabetically: A, B, C, D, E, F, G, X, Y, Z, and then A, A, B, something like that. In place of that, here we have VAR, VAR, VAR. This VAR stands for variable. When you do data entry in Excel, the first row we normally use for defining the variable, and then your actual data start from second row onwards. In SPSS, your data entry starts from row 1 and the name of the variable will be at the top, replaced by this term called VAR. So VAR is nothing but name of the variable for which you are entering the data in that particular column. So all the variables are supposed to be named and then you enter the data accordingly. Second major difference, at the top left corner of the screen, in Excel normally we have sheet 1, sheet 2, sheet 3, we add it, we delete it, we rename it, something like that. That is, we are familiar in Excel. In place of that, in SPSS we have two tabs: data view and variable view. What is this data view? What is this variable view? Data view is primarily for entering the data. So all your data entry work is supposed to be done in data view. What about variable view? Variable view is to create the variable. So when we do data entry work in Excel, we first create a list of the variable in the first row in the Excel file. Here it is to be done slightly differently, and the slight difference is going to variable view. So if we go to variable view, what comes in? This is a variable view window and all the variables are supposed to be defined here. So before you do a data entry in SPSS, you need to define the variable. For every variable, there should be name of the variable, type of the variable, whether it's a numerical, data, string, something like that. Width of the variable, normally we adjust the width by dragging or double clicking. In Excel, here you need to define the width. Cell will not accept number of character beyond the defined width. Then decimal, whether you want some decimal or not, 0.00, 3 decimal, 4 decimal. Label is, the label is given to that variable. So in a way, it is a description of a variable. Value tab is for defining the value. Say for example, I have got variable name here. So I am just, for the sake of reference, my variable name here is income. Now, as soon as you put a name, default value comes in automatically. So every time you will not be defining, only you need to change wherever applicable. So income by default is numeric. Width by default is 8. You can change. Now if you want to change, you can just change it by clicking on upper arrow or down arrow. By default there are 2 decimal. If you want to make it 0, you can reduce it or you can add it up. Label. Now income is the name of variable. Now here we have to be very sure that variable name has to be only one word. It will not accept space. No special character. Only one special character that is allowed is underscore. So now income is the name of the variable, which is numeric with a width of 8 without decimal. Now I need to describe this, the full name of the variable or full description of the variable. For me it is family income, and I want to be specific, it is annual income. Annual income. Now here there is no limit in terms of number of characters. Then comes the value. Now value tab is for assigning specific value to that variable. Say for example, if I created income category like less than 10,000, 11 to 20,000, then in this value tab I can define the categories. 1, 2, 3, what 1 means, 2 means. Okay, that's where the value comes in. Then there are tab for missing. So if you want some value to be defined as missing value, you can have it. Alignment, column, measures and role. So by default at this stage I'll suggest do not play with any other things because automatically it comes in. Okay, this is a variable. Now what we did, we have defined one variable. Now for the sake of reference, I am creating another variable just for the learning purpose. Now here my variable is gender. Now if I put space and like of or respondent, gender of respondent, and if I press tab or enter key, software warns me variable name contain illegal character because the space was illegal character. So we'll remove this, and we has to be one word. So I'll write only gender. Again numeric. So decimal I want make it 0. Now here it is gender of respondents. Full description that I wanted or write, I can write. Now here for this column I want to define certain values. So every time I don't want to write MALE, FEMALE because it takes more number of character and there are chances of committing a spelling error as well. Because for computer, for software, MALE with M capital and MALE with M small letter are different. Okay, so we can define it. So here what I am doing is I am creating a code. So here I want to create a code, say 1 indicating male and 2 indicating female. So every time I type 1, I am giving a indication to a software that it is male, and I want software to write male. And if I type 2, I want software to consider it as female. That is something which is done in the values tab. So if you click on this value tab, there is a small box, blue box, and I can create, placing this plus button, I can create the tab. So for me, value 1. So I am giving a value. Value 1 is for label, say male. I am creating another one. Value 2 is for label female. It means I have given a command that in this column called gender, variable called gender, wherever I type male, it is variable. Wherever I type 1, it is male, and when I type 2, it is female. So I want software to remember this. So it makes my job easy for two reasons. Number one, there are minimum chance of an error. Number two, rather pressing 4 or 6 character, I am putting only one character, and then simply press OK. Now what we did is we have defined two variables in the data file. So two variables are defined. Now what is an outcome of these definitions in the variable can very well be seen in the data view tab. So let's go to data view. Now look, the first VAR has been replaced by income. Second VAR has been replaced by gender because we have defined two variable. And if you take your cursor to the name of the variable, you are able to see the full description. So name is gender, okay, label gender of respondent, type numeric, measures unknown, okay. And now we can do entry. So income, suppose for the first respondent it is 15,000, so I write 15,000. Now that first respondent was male, so I will not type MALE, I will type 1. Now here it is showing 1 only because we need to change the view. So at the top level in the menu bar there is a tab on view. So click on this view and select this value label, because we by default it is value, we want label. So click on this and then look, it is replaced by male. Now second respondent was having income of say 10,000, second respondent was female, so I will type 2. Software will consider as female. This is how variables are defined and the opening window of SPSS works. I hope it is interesting to you. You have learned it. Now it's time for you to practice it. In the further video, we'll be focusing more on how analysis is done in SPSS. Thank you.